Hi, I'm Dr. Seela Bryant on why submission is strength. Submission isn't surrender to man, it's trust in the sovereignty of God. And in trusting Him, we disarm hostility with holiness. Today, in a world saturated with the language of resistance and rebellion, we often treat submission as if it were synonymous with weakness or silence. But biblically, submission is not passive, it's powerful. It requires courage to yield. It takes spiritual maturity to resist retaliation. And as Seeking Peace points out, true reconciliation doesn't come through domination, but through devotion to God's order of peace. The life of Jesus is our blueprint. Philippians chapter says he did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Instead, he submitted, obedient even unto death. And what happened? That submission led to resurrection, to the highest exaltation. In Seeking Peace, the author reminds us that peace was never achieved in the Bible through brute force. It was birthed through obedience, humility, and covenantal love. The book states, peacemaking, especially in the Holy Land, requires submission, not to corrupt powers, but to divine purpose. Chapter 3, The Cost of Peace. When we apply this principle to Israel and Palestine, the stakes rise. It's not just interpersonal, it's geopolitical, generational. Seeking Peace argues this clearly. Both Israelis and Palestinians lay claim to the land as inheritance, but biblical inheritance is not enforced by might. It is received by faith, obedience, and trust in God's timing. That kind of faith is itself submission to peace, even when revenge feels justified, submission to waiting when urgency screams loud, submission to God's justice, not man's. Consider this. A Christian in Bethlehem forgives an Israeli soldier who harmed his brother. A Messianic Jew refuses to demonize his Arab neighbors, despite losing family in conflict. A Jewish and a Palestinian pastor co-lead a peace initiative based not on political agreements, but on the teachings of Yeshua. These are stories of submission, not to oppression, but to the Spirit. As Gerdine writes, peacemakers are not passive observers. They are spiritual warriors, armed with meekness. Chapter 6, Waging Peace. So I ask you, what does submission look like in your life? Is there a relationship where you've mistaken pride for power? Is God calling you to lay down your defense, not because you're wrong, but because you're being refined? Submission isn't just obedience, it's alignment. And alignment with heaven always disrupts earthly chaos. If you're moved by this conversation, I encourage you to read Seeking Peace, a book that bridges theology and testimony with grace. Share this video, tag a peacemaker in your life, and reflect on one area today where submission could become your greatest act of strength. Because the world doesn't need louder voices. It needs lowered hearts, bent in humility, raised in hope.